got here. I do the same ones, but I know I don't make them like Cohiba. I just make them puro. This is something else you will learn about the tour. We normally qualify the leaves depending on the content of nicotine. At the same time, the nicotine determines how you can spread the oils of the leaves. Indeed, when you are smoking, then this is going to determine the smell, like the aroma, the density of the smoke, so the body smoke in the cigar, and also the strength on the flavor, intensity, how you appreciate it on your palate, how strong could be. It's not like rum. In the case of cigars, you cannot qualify that like strong or mild because of more or less nicotine. It's just because the intention of the blend you have done. So it all depends on the appreciation on the palate of the smoke. I can give you a medium cigar, and for you it could be actually mild because you used to smoke and probably you haven't smoked before, like, and a medium could taste really strong for you. But basically it all depends on how you blend the leaves. Then we split the plant on three parts: the top, the middle, and the bottom. As the leaves are getting influenced by the sun, the content of nicotine gets higher. So the top is going to be the strongest part, the middle is going to be medium, and the bottom is going to be the mildest one. Then, for the time, or the way you used to call them, when we are rolling, those leaves are receiving the name of light, and not because they are the mild ones, light because of the weight. Okay? The middle, we call them dry, and the foot at the bottom, we call them flyer. In every cigar we are making, except in Cohiba, we are blending the three types of leaves. Like if we were going to make a Romeo and Juliet, it has a regular flavor of a medium to mild. It doesn't get strong. Then we are blending all of the leaves, but we normally get more leaves from the bottom, determining this mild and special aroma. Okay? In the case of Cohiba, for example, they don't use the flyer. When I make a Cohiba here, like puro, I blend leaves only from the middle and from the top. This is determining the full body smoke, the intensity of the flavor, and it also certain aroma, more intense, not so friendly. In the case of making like Partagas, just one and one, because it has a medium, like half body smoke flavor, then you can do different blends. So as you go blending, you can create that many different brands. In Cuba, we have around 27 brands, and between all of them, we have more than 200 different types of cigars. Vitola. When we refer to a cigar, we qualify the cigar attending to the length, to the thickness, like Vitola. So that's how you have a Cohiba 6th century. And 6th century is like the last name is the Vitola, is the design, because there are also Cohiba Robusto, Cohiba Mareva, Cohiba number 2, Cohiba Esplendido, Cohiba Vejique. So there are different actually types of in the same brand, and that depends on how many leaves or how you have blended. Okay, then after we harvest all of the leaves, we just go cutting the whole plant. We try to keep it just being one stem surrounded by leaves, and then we cut the stem every 2 leaves. Then we can get like a V angle to handle upside down. There you have my brother. He's like a model. He never works. It's just for the picture. But then we hang them, so 1 leaf each side. From this action, it comes the name, the native name. We used to call this region Vuelta Abajo. So because of upside down, is how we hang the leaves for drying. So we take them like this in the wooden poles, and then we carry them to the barns. You should. It's not good for looking. After here I can take you to the barn for you to see. Then like this in the barn, we have to keep them isolated from the wind, the rain, or the sun influence for approximately 4 months. That it takes the first part of the drying and fermentation process. Should be natural, and then we isolate them from, because they might get dry through dehydration. Then those high levels of nicotine content and those high levels of nitrogen get reduced through the nerves to the stem. That's how we don't get only the leaves, and we cut the stem also just to absorb those residuals. Then after it gets dry, we might split that whole production. It's established after the second agrarian reform. We have to sell at least 90% of the leaves to the government. This 90% the government takes from every farm. Then the government makes the famous Habano cigars. So in Cuba you are going to find 2 different types of cigars. Habanos might be Cuban cigars, and they are called Habanos because during these old times they have decided to start with this market of blend or branding cigars. The main factories were founded in Havana, and it adopted the main way to refer to Havana and say Habanos. In the case of puros, That's the name we used to call those native cigars you can find in places like these, because puros are made from the 10% of the production that the farmer can keep. Not every farm can keep 10%. Not every farm can make cigars. You need to be formed. You need to be like evaluated to make cigars. So you need credentials for that. But for example, I cannot brand my cigars. That's why Habanos and puros and other cigars you can find like from Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, all of them are denominated like New World cigars. So 3 different types of cigars in the world, from outside Cuba, New World cigars, and from Cuba, Habanos or puros. After all of the leaves are dry, leaves are going to the government, but leaves are not ready for being smoked. Still having high levels of nitrogen, high levels of nicotine. There are still been levels of insects, fungus like mold, because of the humidity in this barn. Then we need to clean the leaves and make them ready to be smoked. On the factories, of course, the production is really higher than here. There are period certainly catalyzers like esters of ammoniac, like tar, that keeps them easy for longer preserved even after they're rolled to sold out to the world. Those are dedicated to export. Okay. In the case of the ones we do here, we do the same process, the same healing. The second step is it like the fermentation. It takes till 6 months, but we don't apply chemicals. We don't even have it, just to be honest. So we just mix some water, some honey, and some ram. Those 3 being antiseptic are helping us to clean the leaves, to remove any impurity added to the leaf while they are getting dry, and also remove insects. Then after 6 months of fermentation in this kind of bundle, here you can see, those bundles are going to be called thirds, because we put inside every bundle between 35 till 60 kilos of leaves.
Yo con los pares ahí.
Eh?
Yo con los pares 2 minutos que ya llegaron nosotros.
I think there are other partners are going to join us with experience.
Okay.
Then, after 6 months, then we have the leaves clean. They are going to be flexible, not so strong, not so like crystallized. Then we can manipulate. The most of consumption of Cuban tobacco in the world, including Habanos, is in the US. The 79% of the Cuban cigars made are smoked in the US. And we have to consider that it's illegal to take
I'm so glad we can't get them.
Habanos. It's illegal to sell Habano cigars in the US. When I mean Habanos, I mean Cuban cigars, with the ones with the brand. Then also I'm going to explain you after which type of cigar, if you would like to take there, you can take, and how many. Of course, never to reach the limit. I don't recommend to take the whole. You can, because it could be considered commercial. Then after you have to pay certain taxes or something like that. From which part of the US you are coming?
Dallas.
From Dallas, Texas.
In Texas, yeah.
I have a friend there.
Yeah?
He comes every 6 months here. He has cigar bars in Dallas, and he sold our cigars there. He comes every 6 months to get.
Oh, wow.
But he has the way, because he goes through Mexico, from Mexico here, and then crossing the border is safer.
Yeah.
Then he can take every type of cigar he wants. But if you fly directly from here there, you can only take one type of cigar.
Yeah.
So, smoking cigars. Smoking cigars is not like cigarettes. First, we don't need to supply any need of nicotine demanded from our body. By the way, it's not addictive. You can smoke a cigar, you can enjoy the cigar if you have it, and if you don't have it, it's okay if you don't smoke. So it's just because of the light and spend money, because cigars are not cheap. Okay, you should really like them to spend a lot of money on them. Then the idea is that you don't have to inhale the smoke. You don't take this smoke to your lungs. It's not needed. The interaction is gonna be between your mouth, your palate, your sensitives, and the smoke, the density and the body of the smoke. That's how you only draw from the cigar, expand in your mouth to fill it, and then you release it. We don't recommend to blow the smoke out. We need to give time for the interaction with the palate. You won't keep this persistent bitter aftertaste while you smoke, at least mine cigars, because there are no chemicals. That's what I wanted to explain. And then we recommend to accompany the cigar with an alcoholic aged drink. And never do with sparkling drinks, never with so-called drinks, not with ice. Okay? Because this is affecting the perception of your palate while you smoke. The idea with the aged alcoholic drinks is because of the age. It marries with the aroma of the smoke you are getting on your mouth. And then we recommend just to do rum with a kind of wine, red wine. You can do with brandy, with cognac. I prefer bourbon. It tastes much better for me than Scotch or Irish. But it just like this, like alcoholic. Do you do alcohol? You drink?
See?
Okay, then I'm going to present you also something unique from this region, like the same cigars you're going to smoke. This is the only rum we have in Cuba made from fruit. Not being a part of sugarcane, but it's not only from sugarcane like commercial rums, like Havana Club, like Santiago, like all of them. This rum, it's called Guayabita del Pinar. That means like small guava from Pinar, because of the fruit we use to make them. This is made with the smallest type of guava known till nowadays all over the world. And the fruit, it only grows here in the northern mountains of Pinar del Rio. You cannot find them in other places of Cuba all over the world. That's why it gets so special and so unique. Not even in Havana you can find this rum. Okay, I'm gonna feel free to serve you, so to invite you to taste it.
No.
This rum,
Yeah, no.
Gracias.
I'm gonna take you.
Yeah, I'll take her.
Please. He'll have mine.
If you don't mind, let me pass it down.
No, I just don't want it.
By the way, first time, of course I'm being your host, I'm serving you. Next one, the bottle is gonna be in the middle of the table. You can take and drink as much you want.
What's that at the bottom of the, What's that at the bottom?
That's a fruit.
Oh, that's the fruit.
That's
Okay.
typical of this rum. Every bottle comes with at least one example of the fruit we have used to make them in the bottom. Then whenever you take it, you can know from where it came. And 40% alcohol. Actually, it's not that strong. It tastes smooth and aromatic because of the age. It should be in recycled white oak and burned barrels from the rum industry. Then we burn them inside and then they get aged in these burnt barrels. So, salud. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ajaba.
That's strong.
That's good to face the day.
Yeah.
That's good to face the day.
Face the day, you're right.
Just remember,
That and
Well,
one cigar. That's all you need, right?
traditionally here we used to say, don't drink all at once. Try to keep a hair of the wolf that beat you. Okay, that's for next day. Just keep a bit with the same alcohol you have drunk last night, just to fight the hangover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Then now, like I said, I'm gonna invite you to smoke a cigar. This one is for me. Sorry. Which type of cigar you used to? What do you like to smoke? Have you smoked one of the ones you bought in Old Havana?
Yeah, we've had some of those. I would probably want those are mild to me, or the Cohiba.
Those are probably not real blend.
Right. Yeah, I would want something more medium. As well.
More medium,
Yes.
like a Robusto. Could be
I'll try
good.
it. I'll try it.
Robusto also for you?
Yeah.
6th century?
Something lighter.
Something lighter.
Yeah.
Probably like a number one.
Yeah.
Similar to Romeo and Juliet.
Whichever one has the strongest flavor. Like the strongest.
I'm gonna look for that one.
There you go.
What's the explanation?
Well, you like to hold it. Oh, yeah.
There we have. Don't try to understand how I recognize cigars. I used to cigars. I have rolled my first cigars when I was 12 years old. I have been for 18 years making cigars. This is something I have got from my grandfather. So it's so simple for me because I used to. How to recognize when the cigar is good? For you, it's not gonna be enough till you light it. Then when you try it, when you taste it, you will feel. So let's go with a number one. Not too tight. How often you smoke?
Once a month.
Regular. Okay. First, thin gauges cigar. We recommend to slide the whole end. There's always one side closed. That's the head. That's from where you need to draw, because like you see, when I'm making, I'm not going to use glue. If you light it in the other way, the cigar gets unrolled. Just as the diagonal way I have used to apply the wrapper, wrapper keeps it in shape. Okay? Then, thin cigars, whole slide. In the case of thicker gauges, like Robustos, you can punch, open a small hole. There are now V cutters, so probably you have found Vertigo, C-card. There are some different openers on different cutters, so V cutter comes good, or just a small hole. Why? If you get a thick gauge cigar and you slide it all, then when you draw, you make a really huge tube of smoke. If you bring too much smoke on your mouth, probably it's gonna get warm or bitter, and then you won't appreciate really the flavor. That's how when you do the small hole with your teeth, you can press and you can regulate the quantity of smoke you need to appreciate it on your mouth. Okay? In the case of thin gauges like this one, you can just apply directly fire. You release the oils on the tip of the cigar you're lighting, and then you take it on your mouth and draw. See how easy it lights? Just take your time, enjoy it. That's why you're here. Now, in the case of thicker gauges, we don't have to be cutter, but I have some skills. And I do a V.
Oh, how did you do that?
Just practice. Now, thick gauges cigars, we cannot release it by the flame. We cannot light it in our mouth, just because the gauge, as it gets thick, the fuel, the combustible in the middle is gonna be more tight, and it's gonna be drier than the wrapping leaf and the binding leaf. Then if you do like this and you draw, it burns like tunneling. The idea is to burn equal. When the cigar burns equal, then you get smoke from all of the leaves you have blended. When it burns like tunnel, there are leaves that are not going to burn equal or at the same time, and then you won't appreciate the intention of the blend of the leaves you have made inside of the cigar. That's why we light only the edges, and then eventually the cigar will burn equal. And like you see, only like the wrapping.
So you like to use the torch and not the silk one?
I prefer to do it with coal. It's the best way. So now you draw, and I can fix if it's not equal burning. How's the density?
Yeah, that's good.
It's like medium. You wanted the same, like Robusto? How often do you smoke?
About the same, probably once a month. Right?
Once in a month?
Yeah.
Let's try to do a V.
A V.
So it's gonna be better. I have a punch.
I prefer with punch,
Yeah.
but I don't have the puncher.
Yeah, I have one in the car.
In Cuba, everything is getting harder to get.
Yeah.
Take it and draw, then we fix in the case it's not like. Only the edge, and there you have it. And then, this is going to be the strongest I have over the table.
You want?
No.
This one?
Take a puff of yours.
No?
That's good. Also, I can teach you a way to know if the cigar you're going to smoke is properly blended inside and it will draw smoke. You know, it happens that there are certainly cigars that you need to draw too strong to get smoke.
you care about the cold draw?
Hmm?
Do you care about a cold draw? So at the beginning, to see how it's drawing without lighting it.
Exactly. Just embrace the cigar with your hand. Don't press, just round it. And draw from the open part. You will feel the cigar stretch inside of your hand. If it's not getting squeezed on your hand because of the air you're pulling, then it won't properly draw for smoking.
It's too tight.
Get this one and try. You can all try. Just don't press it. Just easily round. Like this.
And draw like
And
that.
draw.
Yep. Yeah, I feel it stretch.
You feel it inside your arm.
Yeah.
Drawing it and trying to feel it stretch.
Yeah, you'll feel it.
I feel a little bit.
Yeah.
That means the cigar will draw. Is it pressed but not too tight?
Not too tight. Yeah. Anybody else?
Of course, cigars might be pressed. Not tight, but pressed. Because eventually then it's gonna turn off. It's gonna run out of fuel. When you smoke. So you feel it how. Then-
you do that before it's
How to hold cigars. This is not a standard. This is not about status. It's just about just being comfortable smoking the cigar as deeper you can inside your first two fingers. Why that? When you're smoking, you're not standing. You're just spending a nice talk, you're drinking something, but you're sitting, and unconditionally you're keeping or you're going to protect the area and combustion of your cigar. Because when you sit, the first of your hand it gets down. Then this is gonna keep the area in combustion over 45 degrees, respecting the earth. Just not like this, otherwise like this. Then the resulting smoke that it gives the cigar away while you don't puff, it won't feel what it left off burning and it won't affect the flavor. So this smoke is going to be outside. And by the way, in balance, it helps you to protect the ashes, not to fall, not to be acted against the gravity. Then, as long as you get the ashes, mainly means the cigar was properly made, it has the proper pressed, but also the ashes are acting like a filter to the area in combustion. If there are ashes on your cigar, the air cannot directly affect the combustion, and then it's going to keep happening and slow burning process while you don't puff.
that made a big difference when I did. You know, used to get used to tapping it. If you don't tap it, just leave it.
You leave
Yeah,
it.
it makes a big difference.
Do something now. Remove the cigar from the hand you are smoking and smell your fingers.
I don't smell like that.
They don't stink.
No.
Not at all. You know why? Because there are no chemicals. And that's the same is going to happen if your ashes are falling anywhere. Just take it to the floor, blow, and it will disappear. Just like dust in the wind, like Kansas. Okay? Because there are no chemicals, it won't stand. It won't even leave a mark on your clothing. Just blow it to the floor, and it will disappear.
It's true. That's funny. I noticed
Okay.
that.
Then now,
Drops on your pants. You just,
I'm gonna try to roll a cigar to show you how we make cigars. Feel free to ask if you have any doubt on the present. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. So feel free to ask. Remember, this is not perpetual. If you stop puffing longer than 3 till 5 minutes, eventually it's gonna get off.
Yeah.
Then you need to relight.
They got relight though.
You need to relight it, and also you will need it. To relight the cigar like this. Blow against the cigar and draw. That's enough. Then here we have some leaves. Now, here I have leaves from all over the plant, and this one is gonna be the dry. Should be drier than the rest of the leaves, or it looks like that. That's why we call it the dry, because this one is going to determine the density of the smoke on the blend of the cigar you're smoking. Then we take it here. Let's do similar to a Robusto. You know, Robusto is the most requested and the most smoked cigar in the world. because it has a really acceptable blend of leaves, and then you don't need to spend that long to smoke them. So it's a simple cigar that you can smoke like others for 30, 45 to 1 hour. In the case of long cigars like 6th Century, you're gonna need 1.5. If you get more like gauges, 52, 54, like Behikes, they're around 7 each, longer, 5 inch longer, 6 but really thicker, then it will change and you need to spend a bit longer, because also of the blend, as the cigar gets thicker, might be a bit more pressed because there are more leaves inside.
Is the more pressed it is, the longer it burns, or the other way around?
No,
Does that make a difference?
I used to say it's just because of the size of the cigar.
I see.
Longer than needs. Taking into account a regular smoker draw from the cigar once or twice in a minute, then we calculate the time to spend smoking. But of course, it's just an estimation. Not every smoker smokes equal all at the same time or draw with the same strength. Here we have a flyer leaf that we are going to use for wrapping. Then I'm going to keep it away of the wind, not to be so dry. Okay, here I have the leaf for binding, another flyer leaf. And now I'm going to take the crown. So I'm gaking like a robusto. This is another crown. There we have it.
So that's the top leaf.
It gets smaller and darker.
Yeah.
With the time you learn how to appreciate it. Yeah, like this is okay.
So, but you bind them all together. You know, when you guys are.
I know how to recognize them.
Yeah.
So you just take them together like this. Not to be so humid, but not to be so dry. Otherwise they are turning crispy and then you need to re-humidify them to make them flexible. And then comes the first step. Remove the main stem, just like a magic trick. I did it in slow-mo for you to get it. There, we remove the stem. Why? First of all, that's like a wooden stick. It will affect the combustion of your cigar. It will move away the burning, so that's why sometimes it can burn faster from one side than from the other one, because this is going to stop that. Here we removed 100% of this, but in the Habanos you can find the 60% inside.
Yeah, el último.
That's the last one. Here we do
Thank you.
My friend, could you give me your wallet, please?
okay, and there it's okay. We have the filler. Like you see, not in chopped in pieces like for cigarettes. We can grind them and make them with whole leaves. And that's something else for what the cigar should be authentical. Because then there are no stems, but no chopped leaves, no grind leaves. It might be made with whole leaves. There we have the binder. We lined it like I was explaining because I'm not using glue in diagonal. And there we have filler, binder, wrapping leaves is here. Then we just balance the quantity of leaves and the flavor. The arrow of the leaf, they are to all of them aim in the same direction. The arrow is the part outside of the leaf. Most of them are stronger than the beard because this one is close to the stem. It's not getting the same sun influence. Then we need to balance to have the same flavor all over the body of the cigar. Then we bring from the beard to the arrow and from the arrow to the beard. And there we have already the blend made and we start rolling. All of them equal at the same time forward. And with our hands we go pressing. My grandfather, when he took me, he used to say cigars are like women. That's why they might be handmade. First of all, because this is something you never share. And also might be handmade, that's how you do the massage, because the most or the more you touch them, the better they get. Nah, that's a joke. But it works. Then this first part is gonna be called bunch. It already looks like. On the factories they have certain machines like press made of wooden with some molds inside where you place them to give this perfect size. But here we don't have that. Fortunately, we have found some other stuff. News here in Cuba, newspapers are not that good, so we don't spend time reading. We give them a better use, and then we are going to wrap them on the paper to press. As we go wrapping forward, we press with our hand, and then we determine the caliber of the cigar we are making depending on the blend of leaves we have made inside. And also the paper will help us to absorb any rest of humidity that could remain in the body. So like this on the paper, we just give the massage to balance the leaves. Might be drying from one day to another. Then tomorrow in the afternoon we are going to be able to remove the paper, and then we add the wrapping leaf.
I see.
Okay? Because we didn't have
Yeah,
to
I see
press.
it. Yeah.
Of course, I'm trying to finish that for you to see. Then after I let it dry on my own.
So if you had a press, if you normally you use a
45
press,
minutes
Right.
on the press.
and that just gets the humidity out.
Exactly.
I see.
And here we have the wrapping leaf. Like you see, feels like a fine piece of skin. You can touch that. Feels like leather. Okay. Let's do remove this here. Of course, it's not ready. We're gonna let it dry after. You see how it gets tied and pressed. And then we just wrap forward in diagonal, just like the same half bind. With one hand we stretch, with the other one we go rolling forward. And then we twist like a pigtail behind. It's not like the first I made.
So why some people leave the pigtail, some people don't.
It matters of style.
Yeah.
And then I guess I have made a Robusto cigar
Yep.
by the eye. Here we already have a hand rolled cigar. Of course, this one is not ready for being smoked. You're gonna touch it. You're gonna feel it too humid, not so tight, because leaves are humid. We need to get dry first, and then after we wrap.
Okay.
Okay? That's wonderful for making blends.
Blends, you said.
That's how actually cigars are made. So after it gets dry, then we can smoke that. It's simple.
Yeah.
But
Very simple.
you do the wrapper after the dryness. right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not like now.
Yeah.
That's why you're going to see different shapes, because it's not so stretched. It's not properly pressed yet. Now, how to keep cigars? Basically, we recommend only to use two ways. Keep cigars in a Wayne Sailor is good, but you need to have a Wayne Sailor. Not everyone has one. It's expensive.
But
You
even
can
that's,
keep
even
them-
That's too cold, right? That's what I've heard that back and forth. It's too cold.
No. The temperature is not important on the cigar.
Okay.
What is important is the humidity. That's why they shouldn't be so dry, they shouldn't be so humid. The perfect percent should be between 68 to 75%. Okay? That's why regular humidors, like the professional ones, are based like this, and it comes with one side where you place on a sponge to drop water and regulate with the hydrometer. It depends on how often you drop water, you keep regulating the humidity. So you can, right now we are 68%. But in Cuba we don't need to use sometimes humidor. Cuba's pretty humid. But you can too. You can regulate between 68 to 75, and this is going to be perfect. Of course, humidors are quite expensive. You can find here in Cuba a humidor being from $300 to $500 with capacity for 20-25 cigars. As the humidor gets bigger, it gets more expensive. They are made of cedar wood. They are properly ornamented with the brands of the cigars. They are selling for you after you get the humidor. This is the last one left of the ones we make here. This is made by us. We sell it here by the same by $300, but in that chance I give you the chance to include 20 of the cigars you choose to put inside, so you can get the 20 cigars plus the humidor for the same price of the humidor you can find. This is the last one. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't spend money on cigars, or you don't smoke that often to spend buying a humidor, I do recommend you to take the cigars to you, to home, save them in a plastic bag. If you get a Ziploc bag, it's much better. And then you can save them beside your fruits in the bottom of your fridge on the crisper. Okay, but in the plastic bag, not to be affected by all the aromas. So the idea is to keep them humid, and there they are going to be all year long over 60% humidity. It doesn't matter if it's summer or if it's winter. Doesn't matter how south or how north you live. This part is always humid, but the plastic bag is needed to avoid all the improper smells, not to be affected by. Okay, like this you can keep cigars for 3 to 5 years. In the case of the humidors, they are lasting longer, 15, 20 years, probably more. It depends on how good or how you look for them, how often you drop water, how you rotate them, because eventually in the humidor every 6 months you have to spin your cigars, because one side of the wrapper gets the humidity proper, but the other one is exposed to the other cigars, and then there is not going to be the same fluency of the humidity of the air, and then it works like this. And basically that's all. It's all simple. Any doubt, any question? Oh, they look